यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधमाधवा कुंज विहारी जय राधमाधवा कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुनातीरावनचारी यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधमाधवा जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकतरिष्टोत्तर सतत श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस श्री भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकतरिष्टोत्तर सतत श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्-भागवतम की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय। श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 23, Devahuti's Lamentation, Text number 42. Kim durapadanam tesham, kim durapadanam tesham, kim durapadanam tesham, pumsam uddama chetasam, pumsam uddama chetasam, pumsam uddama chetasam, यैहि आश्रितः तीर्थ पदः यैराश्रितस्तीर्थपदस् यैराश्रितस्तीर्थपदस् Charanaha Vyasana Atyayaha Charano Vyasanatyayah Charano Vyasanatyayah Kim Durapadanam Tesham Pumsamuddamachetasam Yairashritastirthapadas Charano Vyasanatyayah Kim Durapadanam Tesham Pumsamuddamachetasam Yairashritastirthapadas Charano Vyasanatyayah Kim, what? Durapadanam, difficult to achieve. Tesham, for those. Pumsam, men. Uddamachetasam, who are determined. Yaihi, by whom? Ashritaha, taken refuge. Tirthapadaha, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Charanaha, feet. Vyasana atyayaha, which vanquish dangers. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. What is difficult to achieve for determined men who have taken refuge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's lotus feet? His feet are the source of sacred rivers like the Ganges, which put an end to the dangers of mundane life. Kindly repeat. What is difficult to achieve for determined men who have taken refuge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's lotus feet? His feet are the source of sacred rivers like the Ganges, which put an end to the dangers of mundane life. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The words Yairashritas Tirthapadas Charanaha are significant here. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Tirthapada. The Ganges is called a sacred river because it emanates from the toe of Vishnu. The Ganges is meant to eradicate all the material distresses of the conditioned souls. For any living entity, therefore, who has taken shelter of the holy lotus feet of the Lord, nothing is impossible. Karadama Muni is special, not because he was a great mystic, but because he was a great devotee. Therefore, it is said here that for a great devotee like Karadama Muni, nothing is impossible. Although yogis can perform wonderful feats, as Karadama has already displayed, Karadama was more than a yogi because he was a great devotee of the Lord. Therefore, he was more glorious than an ordinary yogi. As it is confirmed in Bhagavad-gita, out of the many yogis, he who is a devotee of the Lord is first class. For a person like Karadama Muni, there is no question of being conditioned. He was already a liberated soul and better than the demigods, who are also conditioned. Although he was enjoying with his wife and many other women, he was above material conditional life. Therefore, the word Vyasanatyayaha is used to indicate that he was beyond the position of a conditioned soul. He was transcendental to all material limitations. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namavo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Deenataranam. A few months back, in the United Kingdom, in England, there was a revolt of the various political leaders against the Prime Minister of the country. The Prime Minister was Boris Johnson. And because of the rebellion of the MPs, or whatever they call them there, the Prime Minister had to resign. And after he resigned, the question popped up, who will be the next Prime Minister? So there were 3 or 4 candidates whose names were proposed, that these can be the Prime Ministers of England. And naturally there was a lot of campaigning, and it was expected that all the political people there, they would cast their votes, and finally it will be decided who will be the Prime Minister based on whoever gets the maximum number of votes. So the system is a little different from what it is in India. So the contest heated up, and over several weeks there was a lot of campaigning. And just like in India, when the actual elections happen, what happens? The parties come out with their manifesto, what all we will do for the welfare of the country. Generally, you will see that in India, the parties, the different political parties, they try to outdo each other in terms of what we can give free benefits to the citizens. Somebody is proposing that if we are elected to power, we will give free electricity. Somebody is saying free water. Somebody is telling free television sets. Not only that, even during the election, before the people cast the votes also, a lot of free buys are given out. Recently, somebody had sent one video clipping where I think somewhere in Tamil Nadu or some other state, I don't know which one, there is a line of people, I think auto drivers, who are coming. And there is this politician who is giving out one dhoti to each auto driver. Along with that, one bottle of some liquor, whiskey or something like that. And the people are coming, happily taking and going. So in India, the campaigning happens differently. But there is the system of having a manifesto to explain what they will do for the country. Similarly, in England also, each candidate was proposing what his vision was for the future of England, how they will ensure that inflation is cut down, more people get employment, the economy there was not in a good shape, how to bring it back to good shape. all these kind of their plans, pakka plans, they have to put forth. And there will be various debates with different kinds of people, and different kinds of people asking different questions, and these people have to, they have to, they have to show that, they have to establish that their proposal can take care of all the whatever concerns that people have. So finally, the campaign went on slowly. One by one, the candidates got eliminated. Finally, there were two candidates. One was Rishi Sunak. Another was one lady, Liz Truss. And between the two of them, there was a heated debate. Rishi was telling how whatever Truss was proposing, those proposals would lead to the economy getting worse. It would not help the economy to get better. And she was telling, no, Rishi's policies are worse. So both of them were going on debating. And so finally, everybody voted in favor of Truss, and she got elected. Moment she got elected, immediately she put into action all whatever she had announced that she wanted to do. And the moment she started implementing these policies, immediately the whole economy went into a downward spiral. The whatever the Sensex kind of thing they have, that started going down. All the industries started becoming very negative. The stock market started crashing. So immediately they had to roll back the proposals. And the supporters of Rishi, after Truss has been in power for hardly 1 or 2 months, they have started saying, see, Rishi had already predicted this is going to happen, and now it's actually happening. So better is we replace her with him. And so this kind of wave is building up. So we can see how these people like Liz Truss or Rishi Sunak or Boris Johnson, these people are not, they are not stupid people. They are very, very intelligent. Otherwise, they cannot become the Prime Minister of the country. Very intelligent people, very sharp, having in-depth knowledge about the economy, about the country's affairs, the foreign policies, the domestic issues which the people are facing, etc. But still, they make big plans with their intelligence and with the, and it's not that one person is making all the plan. It's the whole party who sits together, and all the big intelligent people, they put their brains together and they come up with policies how the country can be benefited. So, but even though such big people, such intelligent people, they put all their honest, sincere efforts to improve the economy of the country and to help the country to improve its conditions, what happens is their plans fail. So you can imagine, England is a very small country. It is probably the size of one of the states in India. It's like that. Even such a small country, such intelligent people, their plans are not able to counter the problems that they are facing. In fact, instead of solving the problem, it is compounding the problem. So we see how people in this material world are so powerless. We make big plans, but whether they will succeed or not, no guarantee. So even small things like handling the economy of a very small country of a few crore people, it is so tough. Whereas in the case of Kardama Muni, we are seeing he is able to do what even the Devatas are not able to do. Like it is said in the previous verse, that he, like the air which travels uncontrolled in every direction, Kardama Muni was able to travel in every part of the universe at his will, without having the need for a rocket and for a satellite and wearing all those cosmonauts that suit that they wear. None of those things were required. Just by his will, his aeroplane could take him to any one of the Swargalokas. Such was the power of Kardama Muni. Even Devatas cannot do that. Devatas also, they have some planets to which they are restricted. So those planets to which they belong to and the planets below them, they can travel to. They cannot go to the planets which are above them. So even the Devatas are restrained in their traveling from one planet to another. Whereas Kardama Muni is able to achieve something which even the Devatas are not able to do. He is able to freely travel all over the universe. And on such a wonderful aeroplane, which he created in a fraction of a second with his yogic power, filled with all kinds of Gandharva girls to serve him and his wife. So, this powerful opulence of Kardama Muni, as this verse of the Bhagavatam is clarifying, is not on account of some material power. It is not because Kardama Muni was a yogi. It is not that on the power of Ashtanga Yoga, he managed to achieve such wonderful power, such astonishing power which even the Devatas cannot achieve. So what the Devatas, after so many millions of lifetimes of accumulating vast amounts of punya, could not achieve, Kardama Muni achieved it. What even great yogis, by perfecting the Ashtanga Yoga, cannot achieve, that Kardama Muni was able to achieve. Why? Not because of his power of Ashtanga Yoga, but as it is mentioned here, because of his devotion. Kim durapadanam tesham pumsam uddama chetasam. Those who are yair ashritaha tirthapadaha, those who have ashritaha, those who have taken shelter of tirthapadaha, of the tirthapadaha charanaha, of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, who is the source of all places of pilgrimage. Tirthapadaha. Tirthapadaha means the Lord, the Supreme Lord, whose lotus feet is the source of all pilgrimages. The example Prabhupada gives is that of the Ganga. Ganga is capable of removing all the papa karma, all the sinful reactions of the conditioned souls of those who simply take bath in her water. How did she achieve such power? Simply by washing the lotus feet of Vamanadeva. Because of that, she could achieve such power that Gangaji became a holy river, and wherever she flows, that place becomes a place of pilgrimage. People go and take bath on the banks of the Gangaji, like in Haridwar and various other places. Why? Because wherever the Ganga flows, she becomes the source of a place of pilgrimage. So, the Ganga herself has got her power from the lotus feet of Vishnu. Therefore, Vishnu is called Tirthapadaha. So, such Supreme Lord, if anybody becomes a devotee of him, he achieves such wonderful, astounding power which even the Devatas cannot achieve. And Kardama Muni actually displayed a small fragment of some material power, some material opulence, some material vibhuti he displayed. But what the devotees of the Supreme Lord actually achieve, they, by taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, Vyasana Atyayaha, they are able to put an end to the dangers of mundane material life. What are the dangers of mundane material life? Somebody may say that there are many dangers which may take away our life. Somebody may say that there are many dangers which cause loss in our business, which will take away our wealth. Somebody will say that there are many risks, there are many dangers in achieving power. Just like we see how the Prime Minister of England, he was thrown aside in just a few days' time all the rebellion of the politicians led to the downfall of that Prime Minister, Boris Johnson. And now Liz Truss, her hold on the Prime Minister's seat has also become shaky. So, for the political class to retain the power, there are many, many dangers. For a businessman to make profit, there are many, many dangers. So, like this, everybody has different conceptions of dangers. And each of them can be graded. Something is more dangerous than the other, something is more dangerous than the other. So, one's own life is actually to keep it secure is the most difficult thing. So, any danger to one's life is considered the biggest danger. But even bigger than losing one's life, than dying, according to the Vedic scriptures, is to get caught up in the cycle of repeated birth and death, even after getting the human form of body. So, after getting the human form of body, if we are not able to liberate ourselves and we continue in the cycle of repeated birth and death, that is the greatest danger. So, that danger, to overcome that danger, is the goal of big, big yogis. These Jnanis, Ashtanga yogis, they are all aiming at what? They are not aiming, they are not interested in big, big opulences like what Kardama Muni is displaying. Even Kardama Muni is not interested. Although Kardama Muni was capable of creating such a wonderful plane which could go anywhere all over the universe, which even the Devatas find it impossible to do. Kardama Muni never displayed it in the beginning. All the while he was living in his hermitage in a small thatched cottage in the middle of the forest without any servants, having just he and his wife Devahuti executing all the work by themselves. Even the most menial tasks they were taking care of themselves. In fact, Devahuti did not even have proper clothing. Her sari, whatever she was wearing, it had become torn, soiled, it became old. So they did not even have new clothes to wear. So this was the kind of lifestyle they were leading. But when Kardama Muni desired, in a split second, so much opulence descended upon them. So always that power was with Kardama Muni, but he never displayed it because he had never any hankering for these things. He had no attraction towards these things. So the Jnanis, Ashtanga yogis, the Bhakti yogis, all the yogis, they have no attraction for any of these material opulences. Then why are they undertaking so much austerity, so much tapasya, with so much determination? They are controlling their senses. They've taken up the path of Vairagya. They've given up all the material possessions, their family life, etc., and living in the forest. Why they have to take so much austerity? Because they want to overcome the danger of repeated birth and death within this material world. So to obtain that position is very, very difficult. It's not at all easy. But then, Yat pada pankaja palasha vilasa bhaktya. So those who take shelter of the pada pankaja, or those who take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. Pada pankaja palasha, not even the lotus feet. Those who take shelter of the toes of the lotus feet of Krishna, even those people are able to cross over the cycle of birth and death very easily, very comfortably, without any difficulty. Those who take shelter of the toes of the lotus feet of Krishna, they are able to cross over very easily. On the other hand, those who are Jnanis, those who are yogis, but those who have not taken shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, what about them? Rikta matayaha, those who have not taken shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, but they are big, big yogis. They have controlled all their senses. They are on the path of Vairagya. Na tadvad rikta matayo, but they are averse to taking shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. Then what happens to such people? Because when we talk about devotion to Krishna, when we go out and meet various people, we meet different kinds of people. Mostly we meet very ordinary people whom we go and tell, we give one mantra card and we tell them, please chant Hare Krishna, they will very respectfully, gladly accept it and they will start chanting also. But sometimes we come across some people who are a little philosophical. I remember once I was not a full-time devotee at that time. I was still working outside. So I had gone on from my company on a official visit to visit one vendor. I used to work in Bangalore and this vendor was in Hyderabad. So it was an outstation trip. So I went there. And when I went there, this man was naturally, customer has come. So he used to treat very nicely. He treated me very nicely. And I was put up in some hotel by the company itself. So when I went to his place, he received me, he took me around the factory, showed me all the things. And then he started discussing with me various things. And then he told me that unfortunately, Hyderabad is a dry city. So I cannot offer you anything to drink. So whatever you want to eat, anything is there, I can offer you. I can take you to some good place and all that. Then I told him, you see, I'm not interested in all this. I'm a devotee. And so naturally, at that time I was chanting Hare Krishna. I was following the regulative principles and all that. So I told him, I'm not interested in all this. So then he said, can I get some coffee, tea? I said, I don't even take coffee and tea. Then then when the discussion went on, he started saying, oh, you're a devotee. So, all the discussion happened. And then he was a little more curious to know a little more how this change came upon me. So I said, I read Bhagavad-gita and all those kind of things. So he said, yes, I am also reading Chinmayananda's Bhagavad-gita. So I told, but the Bhagavad-gita as it is by Srila Prabhupada, it's very simple and easy to follow. We follow the path of Bhakti Yoga. You can also chant Hare Krishna. It's very easy. Like that, I was trying to preach to him. So he said, no, Bhakti Yoga and all very difficult. So I follow the path of Karma Yoga, very simple and easy. So I cannot do all this chanting and all that. I come to my office, I do my duty very sincerely, and I am doing Karma Yoga. That is his understanding of Karma Yoga. So you see, some people, they are philosophically inclined, they want to follow some spiritual practices, but they are averse to chanting Krishna's holy name, averse to taking shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. So, this is, of course, this example which I gave was of a very ordinary person who had a messed up understanding of what is spiritual life. He did not even understand properly what is Karma Yoga. Forget about in-depth understanding of yoga. But there are yogis, there are Jnana yogis and Ashtanga yogis who are very well versed with their yoga practices and in-depth philosophy also they know. But even such people, they are averse to taking shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. Like once I was doing parikrama for Vrindavan. It was an Ekadashi. And on Ekadashi we do Vrindavan parikrama. So I was walking along that parikrama path. And you know that before the Krishna Balaram temple, there is that there is one temple is there. One Krishna temple. I forget the name of that temple. So I was walking close to that temple and I was coming down. And so I could hear somebody was giving Bhagavad-gita. You know, Vrindavan people giving a lot of Bhagavad-gita. It is very common. So I was walking along and I was chanting Hare Krishna on my mala. But this speaker, all these loudspeaker things are going on. So you can hear what is going on. So this man was giving, I don't know who it was, some sadhu, he was giving a lecture. And he was telling, the essence of what he was saying was, so like this, in Bhagavatam, you can see Bhakti. By performing this Bhakti, you should come to the stage of Jnana. And then you can attain Mukti. So Jnana is higher than Bhakti. So like this he was explaining. So this is, we all know, this is all Mayavada. Mayavadis have that understanding. They think that Panchopasana, you can worship 5 kinds of deities. Any one of the deities which you feel comfortable with, which you feel you are attracted to, you can worship. Ganesha, Surya, Parvati, Shiva, Durga and Vishnu. Any one of these 5 you take the form and you worship them, because currently you are conditioned to think materially in terms of your body. You are not yet out of your bodily concept of life. So you need a bodily form to be able to meditate. So you worship any one of these 5 forms, and once you develop jnana that you are not the body, you are Atma, then you give up that worship and then you elevate yourself to the position of jnana, and then you are liberated. Then you understand that you yourself are that Brahman, and all that kind of word jugglery that they do. So the jnanis also, they think that worship of Krishna or Vishnu is like the worship of all other devatas, and it is a temporary thing which is meant, Bhakti Yoga is meant to engage the mind, to wean the mind away from material objects of sense gratification. And once you have weaned away your mind, then you meditate upon yourself as that Brahman, and then you can stop worshipping all this. You can give up the process of Bhakti Yoga. But actually, what the Bhagavatam and the Vedas are stating, you look at this verse. Yairashritas tirthapadas charanaha vyasanatyayaha. So, what it is saying here is, those who have taken shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, kim durapadanam tesham, what is difficult for them to achieve? There is nothing difficult for them to achieve, not only material opulence. Vyasanatyayaha, even to cross over the cycle of birth and death is not very difficult for them. What is difficult to achieve for Ashtanga yogis and Karma yogis and Jnana yogis, it is very easily achieved by Bhakti yogis. What is difficult to be achieved for all of them, for these yogis? The liberation from the cycle of birth and death is very difficult to achieve for them. And so therefore Bhagavatam says, Tad Aranam Bhaja Vasudevam. So therefore, Aranam, the Supreme Lord Krishna, who is worthy of taking shelter, Bhaja Vasudevam, that Vasudeva, you render devotional service to him. Why? Because if we render devotional service to Krishna, then very easily we can get liberated from this material world, which is so difficult even for Jnana yogis and Ashtanga yogis and Karma yogis to achieve. So therefore, one should use one's intelligence, understand these kind of verses from the Vedic scriptures, and take up the path which is the most powerful path. So naturally, what we can understand is, if, for example, suppose I have a crane which can lift a weight of, say, 10 tons. Now with that crane, I try to lift a weight of 10 tons, it will be stretching the crane to its maximum limit. So it will be difficult. It will not be easy. With great difficulty, it will lift that 10 tons. Now you bring a crane, another crane which has a capacity of 100 tons. Now with that, you lift the same 10 tons. What is that 10 tons for that 100 ton capacity crane? It's nothing. Very easily it will lift. So the ease with which the crane lifts that 10 tons, you can understand that this 100 ton crane is superior to the 10 ton crane. Simple logic, isn't it? Everybody can understand. So that liberation, which is very difficult to achieve by the process of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga, is very easily achieved by the process of Bhakti Yoga. Kim durapadanam tesham ashritaha tirthapadaha charanaha vyasanatyayaha. So what do we understand from this? That same liberation which is very difficult to achieve by Ashtanga Yoga and Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga, very easily achieved by Bhakti Yoga. What do we understand from this? Bhakti Yoga is superior to all other yoga processes. So other yoga processes, so an intelligent person understands by the comparison that the superiority of Bhakti Yoga over all other yoga processes, and directly engages in Bhakti Yoga. So by engaging in Bhakti Yoga, one need not even have a human form. Even if one is in an animal form, one can still get liberated by the power of Bhakti Yoga. This is the power of Bhakti Yoga. There is no example in history of an animal getting liberated by following the process of Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga. Actually, all these three yoga processes, only in the human form of life we can practice. Whereas Bhakti Yoga, you see, you look at Gajendra. Gajendra was an animal, he was an elephant. Simply by taking that lotus and offering it to Vishnu, simply by remembering the prayers in his previous life to Vishnu which he had offered, got liberated. Vishnu himself came in front of him and took him, liberated him. So even an animal can get liberated by following the process of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is such a powerful process. And therefore, the Bhagavatam is saying, Kim durapadanam tesham. What is impossible to achieve by the process of Bhakti Yoga? Tesham, by anybody who takes up that process of Bhakti Yoga, not only human beings. Even animals, if they simply hear the Sankirtana, so many cats keep roaming around here. So many crows keep cawing around in the morning. They are all hearing Sankirtana every day. So they are all going to get liberated. That's the real fact. Simply by hearing Hare Krishna Mahamantra, even though unintentionally they are performing, they are all going to get liberated. This is the power of Bhakti Yoga. So therefore, the Aranam Bhaja Vasudevam, therefore, an intelligent person does not try to take up the process of Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, etc. Nor is he bewildered by the opulences displayed by yogis. So, the Ashtanga yogis, because they get the Ashta Siddhis, Anima, Lagima, Prapti, Siddhi, all those kinds of Siddhis that they get, when they display that, it is very astonishing for people and very attractive. But an intelligent people, when they see how Karda Mumini, on the strength of his devotion, he is showing something which even Devatas cannot display. One can understand the power of Bhakti Yoga. So one is no longer attracted to the Ashta Siddhis which are displayed by Ashtanga yogis also. And one firmly, with firm determination, one executes devotional service to Krishna. So this pastime of Karda Mumini displaying this mystic opulence is meant to give confidence to the Kanishta Adhikari devotees, to the practicing devotees, to give them the confidence and the conviction that nothing is, by following the path of Bhakti Yoga, they are not bereft of the benefits which are achieved by a Karma Yogi or a Jnana Yogi or an Ashtanga Yogi. All of them are available to a practitioner of Bhakti Yoga, and even beyond that, even more than what a yogi can display, that a Bhakti Yogi can achieve very easily, that too without difficulty. As Krishna himself says in the Bhagavad-gita, Klesho adhikataras tesham avyaktasakta chetasam. So, anyone who follows a path, a process, a yoga practice, whether it is Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, which is bereft of Bhakti to Krishna, it will involve great hardship. Whereas, one who takes up the process of Bhakti Yoga, even though he does not practice Ashtanga Yoga, even though he does not practice Karma Yoga, even though he does not practice Jnana Yoga, he can achieve whatever is combined of all these three yoga practices. What he can achieve far more than that with very great ease, without any difficulty. So, the pastime of Karda Mumini forms the basis of the conviction for a devotee that he is not bereft of the benefits of all other yoga practices simply by Aranam Bhaja Vasudevam, by taking shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, Vasudeva, who is the only person worthy of taking shelter of. So I will stop here. If anybody has any question or comment, we can discuss. Yes, please. Raghav Santopan.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Parampara Acharyas made Bhakti Yoga very easy for the modern age.
Yeah.
My question is, In this modern age, is it possible practicing practically karma yoga, jnana yoga?
In the Vedas it is stated, Hared Nama Eva Kevalam Kalau Nasteva Gatiranyatha. So why 3 times it is said Nasteva? Because Nasteva not by the process of karma yoga, Nasteva not by the process of jnana yoga, Nasteva not by the process of dhyana yoga, ashtanga yoga. These 3 processes cannot be followed by the general mass of people in Kali Yuga. In the Vedic times, everybody who was born as a Brahmana, Kshatriya or Vaishya was expected to follow one of these 3 processes. As long as he was in the Grihastha ashram, he has to follow the process of Karma Yoga. And then when he comes to the stage of Vanaprastha, he executes various tapasyas, develops jnana, and then he takes sannyas and he performs Ashtanga Yoga. So, Ashtanga Yoga was practically taught even to children in the Vedic times. That is how we see Dhruva Maharaj at 5 years of age, he went to the forest and started executing such Ghora Tapasya. He was following the process of Ashtanga Yoga. So even a 5-year-old child knew how to practice Ashtanga Yoga. So it was common knowledge. But then in Kali Yuga, people do not have that kind of determination. They do not have that willpower. They do not have that Vairagya which is required to perform the processes of Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga and Karma Yoga. So therefore, in Kali Yuga, it is recommended that there may be exceptional cases, 1 or 2 people here and there you may find who are able to perform Ashtanga Yoga and Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. But by and large, for all the people, in Kali Yuga especially, it is recommended that one practice simply Bhakti Yoga. Other processes are practically not feasible. Over and above that, even if they are feasible, why would an intelligent person take up an inferior path? Take the best which is available and if you follow that path, very easily you can achieve big things. So why not do that? It's as simple as that. So therefore, even if it is feasible, it doesn't make sense to follow the other processes. Therefore, an intelligent person will follow the process which is recommended for Kali Yuga, which is Bhakti Yoga. Is that okay? Any other question or comment? Yes, please. Mukunda Madhav.
People who are in very good position in the material world, generally we say that they have done some previous punya. Because of the punya, they are in a very good position. That punya which they have accrued is because of upasana kanda, worshipping some deity, or by karma kanda, actually, like performing. Actually, what is the difference between this upasana kanda and karma kanda? What gives them that? What is that punya that they have done by which they are sitting in very big position in the world?
Punya can be of many types. One kind of punya may not be associated with any religious activity. It may be general punya karma activities, like somebody is opening a free hospital, somebody is opening orphanages, somebody is digging wells for the people, for the welfare of the general people, somebody is making roads for the people to walk on and travel. These are all punya karma, general punya karma there. Anybody can perform that. One may not even be following the varnashrama system. One may not be following the upasana kanda, karma kanda. He may be even an atheist. Still, those punya karma gives him certain amount of punya. Now, when it comes to the karma kanda and upasana kanda of the Vedas, what they do is, karma kanda, what it does is, it tells you what are the different duties that you have to perform as a grihastha. That means there are the pancha suna yajna that you have to perform, the darsha paurnamasa, etc. and all these kind of rituals which everybody has to perform, shraddha ceremony, etc. These are all karma kanda portion of the Vedas, where there are naimintika dharmas and there are nitya dharmas, so-called nitya dharmas. So where everybody, like pancha suna yajna, everybody has to perform every day. And then there are 5 kinds of activities in which one causes loss of other lives. Like you thresh the grains, you are pounding the grains, some insects will get killed. You are drinking water, some insects will get killed. So some krimi, some insects like this, while brooming the house, sweeping the house, some ants will get killed. These are all unavoidable. You have no intention to kill them. But the activity is such that it'll happen. So, as a prayaschitta, there are various prayaschitas which a person has to perform to overcome these kind of papakarmas. So, these are all given in the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas. The Upasana Kanda, what happens is, there are Kamya karmas. That means, I desire a certain kind of happiness, a certain kind of material sense gratification. I want to elevate myself to Surya Loka. So I worship Surya Deva. I want good physical health. So again, I worship Surya Deva. Or I want a beautiful wife. So for that, I worship Durga Devi. So these kind of different upasanas are also recommended in the Vedas and the Upasana Kanda. That you worship this Devata, you will get this benefit. You worship this Devata, you will get this benefit, etc., like that. So, these are Kamya karmas. I have a certain desire to fulfill that. I perform this kind of yajna or this kind of vrata to satisfy this Devata and obtain that whatever I have desire. So, this is how the Vedas work. So, there are general punya karmas also. By following the duties of Varnashrama Dharma, also one acquires punya. And by following the upasana and worshipping the devatas also, one acquires punya. So there are different ways one can acquire punya. And each of them is little more powerful than the other. General punya karma you do, that will give you a certain amount of punya. When you do follow the Karmakanda portion of the Vedas, follow the Varnashrama Dharma, then it is more powerful because it will elevate you in knowledge. It will elevate you to Sattva-guna. And then you perform Upasana Kanda. That is even more powerful to quickly elevate you to Swarga. Naturally, you have to be situated in very high Sattva-guna to go to the higher planets. So, this is how the various kinds of Punya Karmas are graded. So, different kinds of Punya Karmas according to the position of the person, according to the capacity of the person to comprehend and to be able to follow these kind of rules and regulations. Different things are given. So somebody may not be able to control his senses very strongly. He may not be able to be very strictly following all the rituals of the Varnashrama Dharma, etc. So you do general punya karma. What is that? You help, you establish an orphanage, you set up a free hospital, you set up a free school. These kind of things are general punya karma which anybody can do. So there is opportunity for every class of human being to progress spiritually by executing different kinds of punya karma. That's how we understand. Is that okay? Anybody else? We'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai,